This is our third class in this segment. And so if this is your first time with us, we encourage you to check out the YouTube channel and watch the first two. We've discussed body response to stress. We've discussed the nervous system regulation and indicators of when something has gone awry. So
we had two different types of indicators. We actually have three, but we'll get to the third one. We had the environmental indicators that we talked about when things have gone awry, and then we had the relational. So your environmental indicators. Dark alley, that's an easy one. Is your exit blocked? You know, when you look around at rooms, and actually that's going to be our little homework thing for tonight, or for this next week until we do our fourth one, is look around when you go into neutral rooms and see where your exits are. I myself, when I go into a restaurant, I sit where I can see the exits. And today's age, you know, you go to the movie theaters, it's the first things they tell you to do is look for your exits in case there's a fire or something else wrong. So that's another indicator. Is your path blocked? Might want to look at that. Are you alone? Do you have people around you? Let's say you're at the park. Is somebody in the park moving at a different beat? You have all the children and you have the parents and whoever. Everybody's moving at kind of the same beat. And then let's say you have somebody that's perhaps inebriated. They are moving at a different beat. That's something that you can look at. An indicator that something could be awry.
is it light or is it dark?
Is there a person, you're on a path, a trail perhaps, you're going along, and the person that is approaching you, maybe they stand behind a tree to let you go by, but they're now behind a tree and you can't see them. In that case, maybe you say, I can't see you. You can just call them right on the spot. So sight lines, those are something to think about.
Sight lines, absolutely.
At the end of it, trust your gut, right?
Absolutely.
Trust your gut.
You might not always know immediately. You might not be able to identify what it is that has you a little bit more on alert. Trust your gut every time.
So then you have relational indicators. So you have your people indicators. What if it's somebody, and it could be within the family or the community, they have come into your boundaries. We talked about personal space. They have crossed the personal space. That's an indicator. Something is not quite right.
Especially if you've asked them not to.
Yes. Have they ignored the word no? We talked about using the word no. Nope. Have they ignored that?
Are they asking you to keep secrets that maybe you're not comfortable with or which feel inappropriate?
Just between us. Just between us. Are they pressuring you in any way? Are they perhaps talking down to you? Are they belittling you? Are they making you feel as less of a person than they should? So those are all indicators, things to watch out for. They can all be the beginning of perhaps a larger problem. So, and just kidding is one of those. It could be something small and then they'll say just kidding. And we've known people like this that have somehow infringed upon us in whatever way, but they have negated it with a just kidding. But the move has been done nonetheless. So, and then the physiological indicators.
Yeah, increased pulse, heart rate. Maybe you're sweating, maybe you're feeling antsy.
It's the trust your gut part. So your body is telling you that something is not right, and we would encourage you to listen to that.
So before we get into a little bit more of this, we want to take a moment, check in with ourselves, take a breath in and out. Are there any points of tension in your body? There's a lot to be stressed about right now. Are you feeling that? In, breathe it out.
In the parking garage, if you have arrived somewhere and you parked in a good spot and there's lots of cars around you, and then you're in a situation where you're leaving and all of a sudden you're the last car in the very corner of the parking garage. Things to do, things that how you can help yourself is walk with a purpose. Look at your car and walk straight forward. You can use your phone and you can call a friend or somebody, or pretend that you're calling a friend or somebody, and talk on your phone, or pretend like you talk on the phone loud as you walk into your car. And I say talk on your phone, not text. Even though texting is way easier, and some of us like texting a lot better, nothing says I'm unaware quite like walking and having your head in your phone, especially if you have big fluffy headphones on. So walk with a purpose, be confident. If you are unsure, if you're in an environment where you feel uncomfortable, you feel unsure, but you have to be there. Like there's a whole thing of, don't go in the dark alleys, duh, but what if my car parked in a dark alley? And that's where I have to be in order to leave and go home. So walk with a purpose and also look up, have your shoulders square, and look straight ahead of you. If you see somebody walking towards you and you feel uncomfortable about it, you can look at the person, you can acknowledge them with a nod. You don't have to say hi. But I had a situation a few weeks ago where I was walking a dog on a trail in the dark, which is a great idea. And I was heading for the restroom to see if it was open, even though it was dark. And I was heading for the restroom, I realized that there was another person walking towards me, going the other direction. The park was dark, there's no light in that part. And I was walking towards the bathroom going, this is a great idea. I don't know what I was thinking. Why am I here? But here I am with my dog, who's not much of a help. I'm a lot more skilled than my dog is, and a lot more scary than my dog would be as well. So when I looked at the person, acknowledged the person in my head, and I made a plan in my head what I would do if the person decided they're going to bother me, they're going to attack me. I made a little bit wider pass around the person so I'm not right in front of them because I had space to do that. I looked at them, I gave them a nod, and I kept walking. And I chose not to go into the bathroom because I didn't want to be in a space where I have no other exits except that, where this person might have seen me. So I chose to keep walking, go past the restroom, go towards the beach, and then come back and realize that the restroom is closed anyways, probably for that reason, so people don't go there and trap themselves in the bathroom. But that's one of the indicators, one of the environmental indicators, is if it's dark, if it's secluded places, and also places that just don't have a lot of people or don't have a lot of, not very visible. Well, I've been on that trail before, and it kind of has this feeling where this is kind of a trap. Nobody can see me here, nobody can hear me here because it's really quite noisy from cars sometimes going above me. But also there's not a lot of people using it, not a lot of people can see me here. So at that point I chose to turn around and keep running back where I came from. And also at that point I chose to turn my music off and run without music. Again, it was a choice to be more aware and to show that I'm more aware by taking my headphones out. There's also other environmental things that you can choose to increase your safety, decrease potential for danger. If you, again, dark alleys, obviously not a great place to be if you're by yourself. Being by yourself can be more dangerous, does not mean you should always go somewhere with a buddy. However, you can choose your paths, you can choose your pathways based on who is with you, if anybody, what time of the day it is, or even how light it is, because depends on, especially here, depends on the season. It can be dark at 4 o'clock or it can be bright at 9 o'clock at night. Darks usually slightly more dangerous can be, or it can feel more dangerous as well. Again, another dog walking example. I have a route that I walk my dog in, and it includes a park and a loop around the back of the park, around the back of the fields, sports fields. When I walk my dog in the dark, I don't go to the park. I choose a route in the neighborhood instead because I don't want to be walking in a dark park, even though it's only 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But that's not the route that I choose. How you can look confident is, it is sometimes easier said than done. So look confident. How do you look confident? If you're standing, if you're walking and somebody's walking towards you, if you're in a situation where somebody comes up to you and you need to look confident, One way to do that, sometimes looking at their eyes can be a little scary, depends on how confident they are and how confident you are. Looking at the eyes can be scary, but it can help. You can also make a plan in your head on what you're going to do to them. So as a martial artist, I can look at somebody, and in my head, I can say, I'm going to hit you on the side of your head with my hand. I'm going to punch you in the stomach with one hand. I'm going to hit you again, do a knee strike, sweep your foot, push you over, and get out of here. And just by thinking that, looking at the person and going through that in my head, I made a plan what to do. And I'm going to appear more confident to this person. And if things go south, it doesn't mean that my plan would work, but it's something. It's something. Also, same thing goes for making a plan if you're walking in a dark parking lot. Say, I'm going to walk through this street, turn left here, go straight from my car over here. Making a plan helps. Sticking to a plan helps. And then if it doesn't go your way, at least you had a plan in mind. There was a situation that I put myself in a couple years ago where I went biking with a friend of mine, and we were biking at night on the trail. And it was my friend's first time in this spot, and I really wanted to show her a cool lake. And you come into a little park that doesn't actually have a parking lot. It only mostly accessed by the trail. It's a little park, and then there is a skinny dock that goes out to the lake, and there's a bunch of brush, swampy area surrounded, skinny dock, and then a pretty dock and a nice view of the lake. Well, we got up there, and then we got off our bikes. We were going to walk our bikes down this little dock, and we had this dog run up to us. And we're like, hey, how's it going, dog? And then we realized that there were 3 people standing in the bushes, 3 men, drinking beer, or maybe it wasn't beer, maybe it was non-alcoholic beverages, not sure, didn't ask. They were in the bushes, hanging out, laughing, chatting, and we just thought it was strange. They were nice people, they were polite, we say, hey, your dog is cool, and chatted with us, and then we continued on to our dock. And then as soon as we got to the end of the dock, I realized what I've done. I've pretty much trapped us by our own terrain in this dock, because there is no cars, there's no parking lot, there's no other people. You cannot see the dock from the trail. You cannot see the dock from anywhere unless you're on a boat in the lake. And here's us on this dock in this skinny little pass, secluded by bushes and grass, and then this random people hanging out in the park in the middle of the night. And I just said, what have I done? I totally just guided us here. And yeah, the lake is pretty, but this is not a good place to be. And I know better. I know better, I shouldn't have done that. Still did it. And still remember doing that. So I told my friend, okay, here's our mistake. We terrain trapped ourselves here. What are we gonna do is we're gonna turn our bikes around, and if the people come down the dock, we're going to turn our headlights on, and we're going to accidentally blind them in their heads. And then we're going to tell them we gotta go, we'll walk past them. If they decide to attack us, if they decide to grab us, you're going to stay behind me, and I'm going to see how many people I can throw off the dock. That was the plan. And then when it was time to go, I said, okay, I'm going first, rolling my bike, have your light on, so your headlight is already on. And then we came out, and they were gone, and nothing happened. It turned out fine, nothing happened, but we had a plan. And again, I know better, and I still did it. However, if something did happen, it would still not be my fault. It's still the same. If you are hurt, if you are attacked by somebody, no matter what you wear, no matter what you say, no matter where you are, it is never your fault. It is the person's fault that attacked you. Okay? Just to be clear about that. However, I did learn from my mistake. I learned from my mistake because I was very focused on one task, and the task was show my friend a pretty lake at the end of this creepy dock in the middle of the night. And I probably won't do that mistake again. If you are worried in a situation, if you need to make a lot of noise, the thing that we do in martial arts is we make a loud, we call it key up, which is energy harmonizing. It's a loud yell. And the yell is different than the scream. It can alert a person. It can draw attention to you from around you, from others. Or it can also tell people that you're kind of weird and we should leave you alone because you're not worth it. And the yell is a loud vowel sign, either E or an I, and kind of like a lot of your strikes will come from your center. So it would be a loud hey or he. And again, this is different than a scream, and this can help startle somebody. This can help in a situation where somebody is really in your face and they come up to you and they push you, they shove you, or they just get in your bubble and you're not sure what else to do. You could look at them and go, hey, and then walk away from there. Even if you try to say that and instead you say, that's still weird enough, they'll probably leave you alone. Because you are officially not this quiet person that seemed like an easy target. You're some weird person that makes strange noises and you probably should be left alone. Things like sneeze, cough, can also be great self-defense. If somebody is very close to you, a nice sneeze or a cough without covering your face, especially after COVID time, has been great at deterring people from being very close to you. Also, having avenues of escape. If you're in a building, look for places where you can exit. And this is your homework actually for this week. Whenever you come into an area, any area that's safe, your house, your work, restaurant, look for exits. Look where you can go. If, for example, everybody jumped up in the restaurant and started attacking you, what's the place that you can escape to? Doesn't mean that you should tell the restaurant owners where the escape is or where they should be. Just be aware of the escape and kind of note it when you come into the room. Acting unpredictable, messy, and difficult can also help in that situation. Again, a parking lot situation, if you're walking to your car, somebody comes up to you and starts saying whatever it is they're saying to you. If you don't know what to say, you're feeling scared, just saying the most random things to them. Look at them and say, I had bananas for breakfast, and then keep walking to your car. Doesn't make any sense. But again, you're being weird and unpredictable, and they'll probably leave you alone because nobody wants to deal with that.
So you're in the situation. What can you do? We talked about resources last time. So what are they going to be? So all your flags are going off. You've said no. Things are not. The person is not listening. So what are your options? We're all about options. So first option, people. Can you get with your people? Can you get to a people? Can you get to a group? Get into a public space so that there are witnesses around. Whatever that might look like, whether it be in a family, in a community, or out in the park.
Sources of light. If you are in a dark space, are there lit up areas? Stick to those.
Yep. Exits. Are your exits available to you? But you've already been looking for those, right? Because we were looking at those for our indicators. Figure your way out. So if the person is coming from over here, exit over there. So just make the best of your options there. And then cell phones. Cell phones is the next one. We're really lucky to have those these days because you have so many options right in your hand if you have one.
Call someone. Call the police if you are truly worried about your safety. Mm-hmm. Or even if you're just a little alarmed. We've known people who get into scenarios where maybe they're not comfortable. They call the police and they say, hey, I just want to keep you on the phone. Mm-hmm. This is where I'm at. I'm going to walk to my home, to my car, and I'm going to keep you on the phone while I do so. Mm-hmm.
I just had a conversation with somebody that did that just like a month ago. And that's what she did. She kept them on the phone. And a person that possible could have been an attacker heard it. She was talking loud enough for him to hear it, and the person went away. So, and then also you have apps. You have your camera. You have, there's voice apps that you can record that you can just hit. And if you have those and you have them quick access on the screen, boom, you hit it, you just start talking, document whatever is happening, and then back to the police.
Absolutely. Yep. Personal safety devices. People carry numerous types. We'll get into that a little bit more next week as to how to use those and when to feel comfortable using those.
When is good and when is, there's other options. So we've talked about being aware. We've talked about our breathing so that you can prepare for whatever that is.
And that's important because being prepared allows us to feel confident as we move through the world. And that's important for us. It's important for any people who want to hurt people.
So with that, you're aware, you are prepared, you're confident, and so now we can talk about setting up the game board. So we are going to, in our scenario here, we are going to walk with purpose, and we are going to project confidence. So, a lot of us, I have teenage kids I've raised, and we've got our headphones on, and we have our big hoodies on, and we can sometimes walk around like that. And there's places for that. There's places for that where you can just kind of be in your own space. Some spaces where you need to be a little bit more alert, head high, walking forward, aware. It's just a different feeling. You project a different confidence.
One earbud instead of both.
Yep. Same as driving, right?
Ideally, no earbuds while driving.
Nobody wants you driving with earbuds in. That is not safe. I mean, you may have your visuals, but you don't hear what's coming up behind you. Really no earbuds when you're driving. But maybe one earbud in if you're on a trail where there's perhaps a potential problem. If you're at the gym, whatever, then 2 earbuds.
If possible, stick to public spaces. If, maybe one route is a little bit longer but keeps you to the main roads, and one route is the shortcut, but it cuts through some quieter areas that maybe don't feel safe, stick to the route that feels safer.
And we said no is a complete sentence. Practice the no's. And when the no doesn't work, sometimes a prepared story is good. What are you going to say if somebody's like, hey, are you alone? Nope, meeting somebody. And then just keep going. Just keep going, whatever the story might be. Or no, I'm meeting somebody over here. The story will make a difference.
It helps you maintain your own beat. It doesn't give them an opportunity to jump in on a pause. Being able to say, no, doing this without pause and continue walking.
Right. Okay, now it's like the people in the mall. This is where you can practice this. Have you ever gone to the mall and say it's at Christmas time and you just need to get to your store? So you're walking down the store and you have all those kiosks. Does your mall have like all those kiosks in the middle? And you have all those people reaching out and grabbing you and saying, hey, you want to try this? You want to try this? And you just need to get to the mall. It's a good time to practice that. Nope, keep on going.
And it's not aggressive.
Nope.
It's not rude. It's not submissive either.
It is confident and
assertive. It is confident and assertive and completely about you, not about them.
And a little bit about shoes. We talked about, what you're wearing, and shoes is an important part. So I don't know about you, but we all wear heels, right? Or why wear heels? But I would prefer to be in my tennis shoes, especially if I need to run or if I need to go somewhere in a hurry. And if I'm going to a party, I want my feet as rested as possible.
A lot of people will use this trick at work. You wear heels at work. Maybe you wear tennis shoes on the way to work. It's just more comfortable that way. Heels aren't good for your feet anyways. Easier.
Yeah, they have smaller shoes these days that you could just stick in a purse, little fold-up shoes. So you can just tuck them in and bring them with you. So,
But here's where we get to reiterate that it is absolutely never your fault.
Yep, never your fault, no matter.
You can do everything right, and things will still happen. You can, maybe you do walk with both earbuds. Maybe you're walking in heels. Life happens.
You're always going to run into somebody that's bigger, stronger, faster, meaner. They're always going to be there, right?
And if something happens, that's the fault of the person who chose to initiate.
So with that, let's get into it.
Yeah.
So our next section is going to be on some of the techniques that we use. We're building on the circular motion techniques. And so we're going to use those today in, again, building off of what you've seen over the last 2 classes. And we're going to add a few more based on situations that I'm sure that we have all been in at one time or another.
Oftentimes, one of the biggest differences between somebody who chooses to hurt other people, somebody who attacks, and somebody who is attacked is just that the attacker has prepared.
They've thought about this. This didn't just happen.
And so what we're seeking here is to provide some tools for you to be prepared as well.
What they're looking for is, I mean, the bad guys, they want you to be scared. They're looking for fear, and they're looking for anger, right? Because that's just what they want. So we're not going to give that to them. And this is a practiced art. Even here, it is a practiced art. To have that response be as neutral as possible, yet assertive. And I mean, we will practice this here, and we will try to practice our nose, and we will judge. Okay, that sounded angry. It's like, I'm trying to be nice about it. No, just be assertive. Do not be angry. So when I say...
And we've talked about this in previous classes, right? Practicing asserting your boundaries in moments where you're not scared or you're not angry. Taking advantage of those moments to build habits.
Right. So we try for the nope versus the no. It sounds different. A practiced art.
So let's start with our circular motion. For those of you who have been here before, you're familiar with this.
That's where we're going with this. Everybody that's watched Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. This all gets used.
So what's particularly important about this is we're not waving our arms. If I'm trying to move with my arms, it looks different. It has less power, and it uses more energy. It's harder to do. We are just moving our bodies and letting our arms move with it.
So that when you wind up and then you unwind, the weight of your body is behind the strike. So, and we've talked about different strikes. So we've talked about the difference between maybe you do a palm heel to the face, to the nose, wherever, versus a punch. Palm heel's a little bit easier. Punches, they can hurt. And if you don't do that punch right and your aim is not as good, if you got to punch, punch. But sometimes that palm heel works. Sometimes the open hand works. And oh, look at that. So say we are doing our circular motion, we can practice those strikes right in there with the circular motion. So the arm goes up, the arm goes up. So, and sometimes that arm will swing around and it will become kind of a sideways hand. And we call that a ridge hand. So if we're gonna do a ridge hand, let's just know how to do a ridge hand. So the ridge hand, you've got your hand here. We can see that. And you're gonna tuck that thumb under, and there's gonna be a little soft spot here.
If you clench just a little bit, you'll feel a little, that muscle right there.
But it's soft when you touch it, but when you use it as a weapon, it's not so soft. So we're trying to strike in general. The general rule is soft to hard and hard to soft. So if you're hitting a hard part of the body, you want to hit with your soft spot. And if you're going for a soft spot of the body, you want to use a harder spot. So to keep them balanced. So if I was to use my ridge hands, here, let's say I'm going to take out Megan. I'm going to use my body. Let's say I go here. And so you've got the different parts of the body, right? So you're going to look for the angles, where can you hit? Where can you hit? So the ones where there's a corner, easy to spot, easy to go for, you can hit here. You can hit perhaps in the knees. Somewhere that it's almost like a catcher's mitt. What's going to catch that? What's going to catch that hit? Could go under the armpits. Could be the ribs. So and easy.
So let's take a moment to practice circular motion with a ridge hand.
One. And see, she's using her whole body. So if I just did it with just my hands, not my body, like she said, not nearly as much power. And you can practice that just standing there in your own living room. You can see the difference. But those are going to come up because we're going to show you some moves here next. So
yeah.
Here's a good example. So if we're just using our hands and I'm using a ridge hand and I'm doing that same movement, if I just used my shoulders and my hands, like that's about what I got. If I use the whole body, 1, 2, it's a big difference when you put your weight behind it. So 1, right? So, but so your sensitive points, what you're going for in a quick grab is you're going for the neck, you're going for the ribs. If you need to grab onto something, you know the collarbone is there, and that is a weak spot on the body.
That's probably a very high intensity situation.
Pinches work also. If you go and you pinch this back of the knee, ow, yeah, they will let you go quick. So
yeah.
we've got how many scenarios? We've got like 9 scenarios that we're gonna use this on.
So let's talk a little bit about different scenarios have different levels of intensity, and that should influence how you respond. If something's maybe a little bit lower, we don't want to escalate. We want to maintain where that's at and exit the scenario. So we're going to start with 3 different levels of intensity. We're going to start with standing, seated, and pins. We get asked a lot about pins, so we're going to do a pin against the wall and walk you guys through that.
And then a pin on the ground, so that you know how that works. And they all have a similar movement, so you should be able to see the connections. And we'll point them out as best as we can, and as clearly as we can. So if we start with the common one, shoulders. Right?
Somebody comes around to you and throws their hand over your shoulder.
Maybe they're a friend. Maybe that's fine. Maybe not really. So we're just going to do our circular motion. And then now you are the one with the hand around the shoulder. You can keep the hand around the shoulder if that's what you want, or you can go, oh,
And
thank you.
yeah.
Oh, thank you, Megan.
And conveniently, if I've held on, she has.
Oh, I have the other move. So I can always go, those are other tricks.
She has a lock on my wrist.
So what if it's the hips? Come up. We've had guys do this. They come up, they grab you around the wrist and say, hey. Sorry.
So we're going to do
creepy.
circular motion. Circle, circle.
Circle. And goodbye. All right. And if that is less friendly, she wants to grab my hips again, and we'll make it a little bit less friendly. So, and she's got a good grip. Same thing. Yielding and relentless. You don't stop. 1, 2, 3, and push. So thank you, Megan.
And if they grab your shoulders.
Shoulders. Okay, so this is here. 2 hands. 2 hands up close.
Circle. Stop. We'll shift so that the camera can actually see that.
I felt that was very assertive. I felt like that was a very assertive stop. I didn't feel like she was scared. I didn't feel like she was angry.
You want to do sideways so they can see?
Sideways. 1, 2, 3. And it's hard for her to hang on.
And this is not about, it doesn't come to strength against strength. She's turning in a way that my arm just can't follow.
There's a whole leverage thing going on here. That's, yeah. Because there's always somebody bigger and stronger. We can do these seated too. So shall we show them?
Absolutely.
We're going to show we have a stool seated. So we're going to use a back because it's going to make it more difficult and probably more realistic. So say you can be seated at a bar, you could be seated wherever it is. So first sitting down, seated, and somebody comes up around, same thing.
Hands on shoulders.
You don't really need this, so you're just gonna go boom, and then push.
Absolutely. We like this because it's designed so that if you have something in front of you, a table or a bar, you don't need to step forward, you don't need that space. Step to the side, turn. I've completely maintained my own space. I'm not invading hers. I'm not creating I don't need a lot of space.
And you notice she's not pulling weight either, because if we did this, and let's say I just wanted to get out of the situation, and instead I tried to pull away, that's a whole awkward thing. And then I'm still facing her, she's still grabbing on, versus no. And the grip is broken. So, and then we have the hug. We have the hug.
Hug from behind.
Yes. So this is the unwanted hug. So she's got it can be of any grip really, because this is going to work. So you're going to start shifting. This is all going to happen a lot faster, but just to show you, I'm going to start shifting, and then I'm just going to take off my jacket the same way you would take off a jacket. I'm going to raise that arms, and she's probably up on her toes, maybe a little bit, but the grip is broken, and it's the same. No.
So that movement is going to be like that, rounding out your arms.
So if we did that from an angle, here, come. So if we did this from an angle, it's the jacket, and then the grip is broken. So the last one on this one is it's the seated front.
So we're gonna go to an angle so you guys can see what we're doing.
This is great for a couch. Let's say it's a couch situation or a bench, and it will work in a chair. But if you're on a bench, it really works. So they've come up to you, and
This is pretty in my space, especially if it's a stranger.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a stranger, this is confrontational. We are at a point where I don't want to be here anymore.
right. And so you just need to get out. And this person,
Circle.
for whatever reason, circle,
Circle.
switch, boom.
And what you're kind of doing there is you're almost using them to get up. Your circle, stand.
Yep. And it's nice on a bench or a couch because you got a lot of room to plant them there. And if it's on a chair and then you land them on the ground, oh well.
Yeah, it really only matters if you like want to take care of them.
Yes. So one more time, Megan. So if we did this, circle, grab on so that you can keep your balance, pull them in, and seat them down. No. No is a complete sentence. So we are going to move this next to the wall, and we are going to switch cameras, I think, at this point.
I think we're walking.
Are
We're
we
walking.
We're walking. We're walking to the wall. So we have a nice cushioned wall to practice this on. You can practice this at home, but cushions are nice.
So we're going to get a little bit more into the pins, again, with varying intensity.
So let's say, we're keeping the same theory of circular motion, we'll point it out as we go. So I'm here, and we've all seen this one before, right? The person that comes up to you and wants to talk to you nice and closely, and you really don't want that, and let's say that they're making it difficult for you to leave that situation.
And it's not a full pin, right? But it doesn't really feel good to be here either. You feel at a disadvantage.
And you don't know what's going on here. This could be a wall. This could be something else. So, but I'm going to start, and again, you're going to start a little side to side, but very quickly you can take this, drop this down, and turn. It's extremely effective. Because it is a leverage thing, it is not a strength thing. So if I do the same thing to her, I have my hand and I'm up in her face, well within her personal space.
Conveniently for us, this usually does involve them already leaning forward. So we're gonna circle, and just invite them to take the space that they were leaning into.
Now, what if she's got two hands?
This can work if it's both two hands against the wall. It can also work if it's two hands against your shoulder.
Yes, it's the same movement. And even though she's really strong and she absolutely has me pinned, we're going to throw in a little scooch, and this is going to help better because we're going to use the wall to our advantage. So we've got our feet. We are shifting the weight in our feet. We're going circle, right? But this is all happening internally. And then we are going to just an inch, like just a smidge along the wall. You're going to scooch. And then you are going to reach. You really don't even need the hand, but I'm going to use the hand, and I'm going to turn. But it's the scooch that makes a difference, and it's so small, but it really helps. So if I pin her and I'm super mean.
So I can't lift away from the wall. I'm not going anywhere if I'm just trying to push against her. I can't pull because I have nowhere to pull towards. But I can move along this wall.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna circle around her arm, circle this way, not really budging, inch just a little bit, and really you need like a centimeter of movement. You don't need a lot of movement. It just resets where you're at. And then I'm gonna
and if you can add enough of a scooch and you make that scooch to the side versus going directly into a circle, they will face plant right into the wall. So it just depends on how much damage you want to do, depending on the situation.
And if you don't want somebody pinning you against the wall, this is a pretty grave invasion of your space and your boundaries. Mm-hmm. You don't need to take care of them. You can let them face plant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's a great option if you don't want to just hit them. You know, you could do this to get away. So let's up the stakes a little bit. Let's go to the hand pin. So she's got me by the wrist. And so I'm going to show you a little motion here. Here, let me go, you big meanie. So I'm going to show you a little motion here, and I liken this to like the airport, the guy at the airport flagger, or you can look at it as a clock, whatever the visual that works for you. At the end of the day, this is a circle. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to go out. Depending on which direction I want to use, they work both ways.
You're probably not going to be able to get your hands all the way out.
Right.
You can get a little bit, and all you need is a little bit.
Yep. And it's a circle because when we do our little arm movement, we're going to pivot. We're going to pivot on a pole, and that's where our circle is. So we're going to watch this. So she's big and mean and strong, and she's got me by the wrists. But again, I have the wall as leverage, and it's harder for her to hang on if I am using a wall. Like if it's away, it's harder. It's harder to get away from her, but I can move my hand if I'm up against a surface. So to show you, I'm going to do, this one is going to go up. Or should I do it the other way for the camera? Okay, I'm going to make this one be the up one. And so she's over there looking at that one.
I'm going to stop the movement.
She's stopping me. I can't get any further. This one is going to go out, 3 o'clock, but that's as far as she's letting me go, but I'm shooting for 3 o'clock. But then I'm going to start moving this one again, and I'm going to do that same little scooch. It's just a little bit. I'm going to go to the side with my little scooch, and I'm going to pivot on this arm. But you can't hang on. So if I do it to her, okay. 1, 2. Okay.
All right. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go out. Can't really get any more movement.
And all my attention is over there because she just did that one last.
I'm going to scooch.
Well, what are you up to, Megan?
We're not pushing with our arms. We are doing that same whole body movement. Mm-hmm. But where we've kind of benefited from this is in that movement of the arms, we've taken their attention from pinning us to just pinning our wrists. Mm-hmm. And it makes them a lot more unstable.
Mm-hmm. So one more time on that, because then we're going to take this to the ground. Okay, so we are up here. So we've got you're going to go whichever way you're going to go, right? Whichever one, you're going to take it. But you're going to do 1, 2, 3. You're going to distract, turn. So in this case, we're going to go up. This one's going to go up, so you can see what's happening over there. This one is going to go to 3 o'clock as far as she'll let me. And then all of her attention is over on this side. And then I'm going to scooch, and I'm going to switch. There you go. So that is on the wall. Guess what? It works on the ground. So here we are. And we're going to start with the hands on the...
No,
we're going to start with the single hand.
We're just going to run through the same ones that we just ran through against the wall.
And so for some reason, they are talking to you with one hand. This is probably not very comfortable. And you just don't need this.
Circle.
And I'm off.
And in this, that full body movement becomes a lot more important. You're going to use your hips just as equally as you use your shoulders.
Yep. All right. So then I come back because I'm troublesome. So I've come back, and this time I'm going to do the 2. So I've got my hands on her shoulders. I've got her pinned down.
I'm going to circle.
This works. We have done this in class. People did not believe that they could do this. And they thoroughly had a great time practicing how many different ways they could throw their partner. So, okay, let's make it even harder. Let's do the hardest one, the airport flagger or the clock, however you want to visualize it. So we have our wrists. We're pinned. We're super mean. We're super bad. Okay, she's going to... There goes. Which one's the high one? As she's going high up here, I'm over there, and then she's trying to do that 3 o'clock over there. And I'm off. So there we go. One more time. Shall we try it? Here, you wanna beat me up?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so she's doing the same thing. Okay, so let's just go straight to the arm pin. So we do the arm, so here we are. So we went the clock that way this time. So this time I'm gonna make this the high one. So this is the one I'm gonna pivot on. Over here in the arm that you can't see I'm shooting for 3 o'clock on that one. Actually, here it would be. We're gonna try to get our hand as straight as we can on that side. And then she's over there, she's focusing over there, but then I bring this one up. So now she's focused over here. I do that same scooch, and it's just a little bit, a little inch, maybe two. Just move along the ground, and there you go. And they're off.
So
we should do falls.
This is definitely something that takes some practice. If you're going to practice, we encourage finding maybe a martial arts studio or something of the sort nearby.
Maybe not the concrete driveway.
Yes, not the concrete driveway. It can be kind of a big throw, so maybe don't throw around somebody who's not prepared for that or knows how to fall.
Yes. We should show them. We should show them how to do the falls.
Absolutely.
So falling is a big part, can be a big part, and we all trip, we all fall. Sometimes it's nice to know how to fall.
So how we like to fall is something we call a rollback.
And what the rollback does is it gives you a little bit more speed of movement and a little bit more cushioning. Okay, so if I'm going to push Megan to help her with her fall.
I'm going to tuck my knee. And
she falls down.
And I slap at the end. It just disperses the force.
Circle.
We're going to start. I think this is something that's really great to practice, especially maybe on a carpet to start with. We're going to start seated though. It's a lot easier to get the movement figured out if you start seated. So we both naturally.
These are exercises. We do these all the time in class. It is a great fitness routine. You can tie it into lunges. Okay, go.
We're just going to roll back. We're going to try not to let our heads hit the ground.
So if I go back and back in.
And you just do that a few times, get used to that movement, try and make it kind of as soft and round as possible almost. You don't want it to feel clunky.
We're shooting for going from shoulder to hip on opposite sides. So if I go back on one hip, I'm kind of shooting to roll over to my other shoulder.
But we're happy if you just don't hit your head.
Yes, the goal is don't hit your head. So we don't want you to let go of your head, so keep that head off the ground so that it's not hit.
Once you're comfortable doing that from a seated position, you can move up to kneeling.
Yep. And then you can move up, but you see how quick this is. So when you have fallen, hopefully it is on a nice soft mat and not on concrete. Works either way though, just hurts a little bit more on the concrete. So it's a lot faster though. If you need to get up quickly and you need to move, it's very quick.
And even just not being afraid of falling can make a world of difference in how you respond to things. So once you've practiced your kneeling, you can practice standing.
Nice. Nice.
So look behind you and make sure you don't have objects behind you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm going to wrap up today. And I want to remind everyone that all interactions include the time leading up to a confrontation, the actual interaction, and the time afterwards. Be aware and prepare. I'd like to share a story with you about something that happened in my family. We were out of town on vacation and had asked a friend to care for our pets. As they arrived at our house a few days after we left, they were on the main floor and heard something upstairs. When they went up, there was a stranger who seemed to have moved in and made himself comfortable. Our friend told them they were there to take care of the pets and look after the house. And the intruder said that's why he was there. He said he was an instructor at our martial arts studio, and he wanted to know if they wanted to play chess or go out to the studio and grapple. Our friend quickly assessed the very dangerous situation. In order to de-escalate, they said, maybe later. Right now, they had to go downstairs and feed the cats. They did go downstairs, but they went outside and called 911. When the police arrived, the intruder tried to flee by running out the back door and jumping off the upstairs deck. Realizing he left incriminating belongings in the house, he ran back in and was captured by the police. Both the intruder and our friend told the police that they were there to take care of the house. Eventually, they were able to reach us by phone and clear up the confusion and determine that the intruder was definitely not supposed to be in our house. After the police arrested him and left, we asked our friend to check to make sure the back gate was closed. It was about midnight by then. We were on the phone and heard them yell, "Oh my God, oh my God." We said, "What's going on?" They said, "It's a bear." It seems a black bear had also come to investigate. Our friend quickly went inside. They had 2 close calls that day that required them to be aware and to be prepared. So this was an example. The pets were fine, and and our friend was fine. It was an example of how they used their skills not to have a physical confrontation, but to avoid escalation and to stay safe. Of course, the first step is always to get to a safer space. Threat assessment helps determine immediate danger. Once you're out of immediate danger, it's important to use the techniques we have prepared to help control your own reaction to stress or danger. You may want to use a word, an object, or a ritual to activate your relaxation response. Connie talked about practicing breathing with a word that may eventually activate relaxation on its own after lots of practice. You may have a lucky piece of clothing. Serena Williams, for example, always wears the same socks throughout a whole tournament. These examples can help achieve peak performance or put you in the zone. Other objects or practices can help achieve focus and calm after an event. The classic example is Linus with his security blanket. Worry stones have been used throughout history to help relax and reduce stress. They were used by ancient Greeks and by Native American tribes. The action of moving your thumb across the stone back and forth is thought to reduce stress. In martial arts, we bow every time we enter the studio, and we step on the mats with our left foot first. This ritual helps to leave tensions or concerns on the outside and allows us to focus on our training. Whatever method you choose to release stress, it is important to practice it with small tensions and in small situations so it will be available during and after times of danger. Once you're in a safer place, an excellent way to calm down, focus, and determine if you need immediate care is to review and report. Document the date, time, location, witnesses, and how you feel. Save any video or audio you may have. First of all, contact someone you trust. Talk to supportive family members or friends. If needed, contact a 24-hour hotline, medical professionals, mental health professionals, or law enforcement. Always call 911 if you're in immediate danger. Some 24-hour hotlines are the National Women's Domestic Abuse Hotline, the RAINN Safe Hope Sexual Assault Hotline, the Safe Hope Crime Victims Hotline, or the Teen Dating Abuse Hotline. Contact information for these and other organizations should appear on the screen at the end of this class. Let's finish class with some breathing exercises to help develop balance, relaxation, and response. There's 2 different ways to think about how you breathe when you're doing breathing exercises. One of the most common that Connie and Megan mentioned in the first couple of classes was breathing in through your nose or out through your mouth, and out through your mouth. And I use that technique when I want to increase my energy or when I'm out of breath or ramp myself up to be able to have a peak performance. When I want to relax or meditate or calm down after a performance or situation, I think of making a contact that kind of makes the circular motion that we've talked about in our breathing. And to do that, you put the tip of your tongue on the little piece of skin that comes down between your 2 front teeth, and leave it there. And you breathe in and out through your nose. You breathe in to your center all the way down, and then out, your center will kind of contract as the air comes out. And you make a circular motion of your breathing. So we're going to do a set of exercise called circulating the chi. And we'll start with our feet about shoulder width apart and stand up straight with your back and spine straight. And imagine a string holding your head up, the back of your head up, suspended from the ceiling. And then you want to sink and center yourself. In the first one, our arms are going to kind of float up, breathe in and out and in. And as you breathe out, let your arms float down and release tension. One more time. Float down. The next one we're going to do is you're going to breathe in as you gather up, breathe out, rotate your hands, breathe in and out. As you do these, try to relax all your muscles to where you're just standing in a totally relaxed way. As you feel tension, try to, with your out breaths, relax that tension as your hands go by. The next one will be a side-to-side breathing, breathing in and out. Rotate your hands, breathe in and out. You'll begin to almost feel the air like you would feel water if you were underwater. Feel the air giving a little bit of resistance to your hands as they move. The next one will be upward. Last one is gathering. You're going to breathe in and continue to breathe in. And long breath out as you scan your body and release all your worries. Thank you. The next class in our series is going to include personal safety devices and other ways to be prepared. Please send us any questions you'd like to see covered, as it will be the last class in this series of women's self-defense. Our next series will be bystander training, which will be a 2-part series on what to do if you witness someone being hurt, whether it's bullying or something more extreme. Also, as always, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Visit our website and Patreon, and follow us on social media. Goodbye till next week.